Hi there, Sagittarius. This is Carrie at wooingnature.life. Welcome to March. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to another delve or dive into relationships. This is the Pisces season, so we let Pisces decide what we were going to talk about this month. So if you didn't want to talk about relationships again, you can blame Pisces. But anyway, listen anyway, because this is not just, I'm not going to just talk about love, romance, partners and spouses and stuff like that. I really want to open it up and think about how we're relating in general, just like we did last month for February, but with a little bit of direction. We're going to add some direction to it. So I am going to be reading from Colette Baron Reid's The Enchanted Map Oracle. I use this in my practice for the relationship map, and the relationship map is a 2-week, 4-week, or an 8-week process that you can go through by yourself or with your partner or with your family or your work family. It doesn't matter which, but it is a way that we use to intuitively guide you towards some of the stuck places that may exist in your relationships. Give yourself a chance to rethink how you're communicating with each other. We also talk about boundaries in relationships as well, and we start to look at how we can connect and relate to each other and communicate with each other differently in order to sort of bridge some of these gaps or to make decisions about relationships, because not all relationships are intended to last forever. So we use that. That's the relationship map. If you're interested in it, you can reach out to me through the website, and that is wooingnature.life. And if you go to services, you'll see the relationship at the bottom. Of course, if you have any questions, you can reach out to me at Kerri, Kerri, at wooingnature.life, and I'll be glad to walk you through it, help you understand it better, that kind of thing. And then, we can talk about how all that works. Okay. So I wanted to use these cards in this reading, so that'll give you a chance to see how I use them in the other practice. And then I'll also be reading from one of my favorite decks to read about relationships, and that's the Sun and Moon Tarot. And I like this because look at this. I mean, all the images are so light and loving and relaxing and young and free. And I know that when we're talking about relationships, things can get very heavy and get very weighty, but I like to go to this deck for that because it kind of lightens the mood and helps us to appreciate each other in a different kind of way. Okay. Sagittarius, I am looking and asking my spirits to help guide me in the shuffling of these cards. For Sagittarians, all of those who will be connecting to this line, who will be hearing this. This is for the month of March 2021, or whenever it resonates with you. Okay. And we're just looking for direction, basically. Direction for Sagittarius, things to look out for, pay attention to. We're going to do just 3 cards, and those 3 cards are going to be for that purpose. So that was 2 of them. We got one more. One more, please. One more for Sagittarius for the month of March. Thank you. I have active cards. Y'all know that. They always on the floor. Flipping out. They land everywhere. I don't know why that is, but it just is. So we're used to it. I gotta go fetch. All right, so we got some dry spells, dry season. Look like if you got any, Lord have mercy, it was so few and far between. But that's okay because that's for a reason, okay? I've also got rock bottom here for you, Sagittarians. So I feel like some of you have reached some all-time lows, not just in not having relationships or not having a relationship, but also the relationships that you have been having have been bringing you all the way to the bottom. Now, I know that sounds pretty bleak, But we always know that once you hit the bottom, there's nowhere else to go but up. And in this case, up is home. Home is where the heart is. And where your heart is where you're going to find these relationships that you're probably seeking, or that may even be seeking you, but you are missing it, or you are not in a place where you can actually receive it, or where you can actually, bring it in. Dry desert periods in relationships is really about you getting in touch with yourself. That's what it's all about. If you have a dry spell and you're like, geez, I just don't feel like I can, I can't buy a date, or something like that. It feels bad. It makes your feelings get hurt. You get in your feelings, but getting in your feelings is always about getting in more than anything. And sometimes the spirits need you. They need to talk to you. They need to connect to you. You need to be in touch with them, not so much about how you're spreading your wealth throughout the world in terms of relating, okay? Sometimes you have to build a relationship with your spiritual partners. Sometimes you have to build a relationship with God. Sometimes God needs you to take a moment, just the two of you, so that things can be lined up and so that you can be in your right order, okay? So even though these are the times that we don't like, we don't appreciate it. No, we do not. But this is a part of the ebb and flow of life. And then also it's a part of the breath of life. You can't always exhale. At some point you have to inhale. And just like you can't always inhale, you can't always take everything in and not express or not let that energy out. So it's the way that life breathes. And so when you are having those dry desert moments, then it's just you taking a breath, really. And then taking that breath, of course, is getting you in touch with something. Now, the rock bottom can make you feel like rock bottom, but when you get to the rock bottom, you know where your core is. You know what's important to you. You know what really matters to you. You've gotten in touch with that. Like you've gotten really in touch with that. And so, bottom is not always the worst. Sometimes you have to go there to know there. But I feel like, again, after all of this is over, then your next step is to really find the place where your heart belongs, the place where your heart belongs. And I think that you will find that. And I think you'll also be, you could be surprised about what that looks like. Because you have to remember, we have gone through an ascension. And we are also going through an expansion now. See, we did the ascension. Now there's an expansion. So now that you have ascended to a certain level, now you're going to have to expand that model. It's going to have to go out. It can't always go up, 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 and up. It's got to build out. The structure has to be built in a certain way. And it can't just be straight up. So you got an expansion there. And because of all of that, you will be relating differently. Not just you, Sagittarius, a lot of people. You are going to be relating differently. See, this is what I'm talking about, the Wheel of Fortune. It is in the reverse, which tells me sometimes we might be resisting the change. But the change is there. The change is imminent. When change happens, it happens with or without your permission, right? So if it's in reverse or if it comes in reverse, then to me, it's like, you trying to resist the change. Ain't no need. It's no need. It's no need, because trust me, you don't have enough power in your whole body, mind, and spirit to be able to control this level of where this expansion and this ascension is. You don't even worry about it, okay? We got the death in reverse here. Death in reverse again. Death is these things right here. Change is imminent. Death is evident. Is life and death. That's where you are. You're on planet Earth, living a planet Earth experience. Guess what? Things live, then they die. That's it. How long it lives, Nobody knows. How long does a rock live? I don't know. Could for centuries, but at a certain point, the thing turns to dust. It's just the way that it is. So these things are inevitable. It's no need in resisting it. It's no need in resisting the process. Lean in. Lean in. Sagittarius, lean on in. There's very valuable messages in letting go. There's some very valuable messages in letting go that the dry desert and the rock bottom are teaching you. Okay? And out of this, look at all these major arcana cards you done drawn up after all of this. So you done had that. See, it's a dry desert. Oh, you hit the rock bottom, but you have your home where your heart is. And look, if you stop resisting the change and go with it, then what comes after is what? Multiple blessings. The blessings of your heart. Your heart is going to create. You're going to create from your heart space. And that's a beautiful thing, because really, if you go to your heart space, if you get to this point and you know what it is that's really meaningful to you, then when you focus your attention on that, then it will draw whatever resources you need, whatever emotional connections you need, whatever people, capital you need, all of that will just happen because your heart is leading now. Your heart is leading now, not just your head, your heart. Yes, you have to have a balance. Can't be all heart and no head. Can't be all head and no heart, but it certainly can't be stubborn and resistant. It can't be that, okay? Not with these two. Not with these two. This right here, you're going to have to just surrender. You're going to have to surrender to the moment. And when you surrender to that and you really start getting in touch with your heart space, when you really start getting in touch with your heart space, Sagittarius, you're going to realize how powerful the heart is. You're going to realize the strength of it. You're going to understand that the magic of it, the power of it. You're going to start to really get into it. You're going to be like, you know what? I just love you. And you're going to be like, where did all this love come from? Well, it's always been inside of you. Always. You just had to open it up. You had to open the door to it. You had to unlock it. Because right now you got a lock on your heart. And you don't want to open it up for anybody. And, you know, and it's probably because of these things. But the heart knows no boundaries. It can be, the heart can be in the dry desert. The heart can be in a lush field. And the heart can see beauty in all things. The heart will see beauty in the moment that may seem like the worst moment ever, but there's beauty in it. The heart can see that. So all you have to do is get to the heart. You need to do some breathing and some chakra massages and some chakra meditations around your heart space. Emerald is a good stone for your heart, as is pink quartz, rose quartz. So rose quartz, emerald. Emerald, I'm going to say emerald is more or less for people who are okay, so for let me go backwards. Okay, so your rose quartz is going to be more for your relationships, your romantic relationships, your significant others, your partners, like that. Your emerald is when you're really getting into expanding your heart space territory into bigger areas. So it's like those people who are doing community activism, people who are doing social justice work, people who are trying to make changes that will reflect our love space and our heart space, as opposed to just being about commodities and money and capitalism and that kind of stuff. People who are doing that kind of work where their heart is, and also I'm going to tell you something else, your frontline workers, your people who are doing healthcare work or healing work anything like that would be more for emerald. So I'm making that differentiation there for you. But whatever you feel drawn to, you know, you can meditate with those stones. Either one or both. All right, what else do we have for Sagittarius here today? What else do we have for Sagittarians for March? Yeah, this is the moon, and the moon to me is again about going into some shadow work. There is shadow work involved here. Of course, when you're rock bottom in your dry desert, there's always shadow work somewhere in there. That's because, again, you're being pulled away from relating. The dry desert means you're not in a relationship. Rock bottom means in the relationship is not going well. It's to pull you away from the relating so that you can get a clear view of yourself. And then you will know how to ask for what you want. You will know how to stop what you don't want. You'll know how to set your boundaries. You'll know what to say when somebody does set the boundary. You know, it won't be hard. You won't be up there trying to think to yourself, oh gosh, I wish I had said this. You know, well, this person said this, but I didn't say anything, and I don't know why I couldn't think of something to say. You know, it's because you're not really clear about yourself. Because when you are, you'll know exactly, oh no, I'm not doing that because of this, and that. And you won't have a problem saying it to the person or anything. It might shock them, but you won't care about it because you're clear about yourself. You know what I'm saying? Got to live out loud. We got to make a decision to do that. And the first thing is to deal with these. It could be for you. It's emotional. It's for you. It's emotional things. Emotional past. I'm getting from this card. You're looking at your emotional past. There was like a split somewhere in the process, maybe when you were younger, when you were growing up. It could be that for some of you, it could be a parent. Like if your parents split at a certain time in your life and the way you perceived it made you then apply that to every kind of relationship like that. That is common. That's common. That happens a lot. So it could be that, but it's important to know when that happened, and also to get I'm going to say to re-inform yourself about that moment. And the reason why I say that is because sometimes, especially when we're young, we perceive things a certain way, and that may not have been so. It could have been, but it may not have been. So it's good to go back and talk to the people who were involved if you feel strong enough to do that. For some of you, you might want to get your families in for a family counseling session or something like that. But that's the best way to address that and let everyone else have their say so that you will know whether or not the perception that you had at the time is accurate, or if it was just because of your age or because of what happened or the way that it happened that made you think a certain thing that wasn't. Because somebody could tell you, I've had this, recently where, the perception was one thing, and it's like, well, no, that's really not what was happening at all. Really, what was happening was this. So the thing that you thought about yourself that's been driving you for 10, 15 years isn't even really true. And so now you can rethink your experience, and you can also reshape your experience. And that's when you start using your heart space to create the environment that you want for yourself and your significant other to be in. And you can actually talk about that. You can actually have a conversation like that. Not a conversation about, well, why you don't just do this? Or how come every time I say this, you say that? You're not having that kind of conversation anymore. You're having a proactive conversation, not a reactive conversation. Whew. Spread a little joy in your life. That's the last card. I'm not even going to go any further. This is the joy of the relationship that you deserve. This is the joy and the type of joy. I hope you can see that. That's the kind of relationship that you deserve, Sagittarius. And the person who's with you deserves to have the best of you with them. You all just enjoying each other and spending time and seeing the lightness in the experience and enjoying it for what it is and expressing yourselves. I'm seeing the third chakra, the will center here, and being able to express yourself freely with another person and that person being able to do the same thing. Ultimately, that's what you want. Ultimately, that's what you want. And all you have to do is embody it, own it, own your heart space, use it, express, not be afraid, lean in, deal with the past, let it go, and then open yourself up to these possibilities because they're there. They're definitely there for you. All right, Sagittarius, I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you want to get a relationship reading, then email me at Kerri, Kerri, at wooingnature.life, because that particular thing is not on the website. So you'll have to kind of connect with me about a relationship reading if you want to do that on your own. All right. As always, I hope you have a great day. I hope you have a wonderful March, and I hope you're having a fabulous life.